Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're going to explore moments in history when small mistakes, misjudgments, or overlooked warnings completely changed the world. Some of these errors were technical, some human, and some just decisions made in the heat of the moment, but their consequences were enormous. Let's start in 1986, in the heart of the Soviet Union. At the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a reactor was being tested. Operators made critical errors and ignored basic safety rules. The results were catastrophic. The reactor exploded, releasing a cloud of radioactive material into the atmosphere. Thousands of people were exposed, and entire towns had to be evacuated. What could have been prevented became a global disaster, showing us how dangerous it is to ignore safety. A few months later, thousands of miles away in the United States, another tragedy struck. On a cold January morning, the Space Shuttle Challenger was ready to launch. Engineers had warned that the low temperatures could affect the O-rings, crucial components that sealed the rocket boosters. But the launch went ahead. 73 seconds after liftoff, Challenger broke apart. 7 astronauts, including a civilian teacher, lost their lives. This disaster was caused by human overconfidence and underestimating risk. Fast forward to 1992, in sunny Florida. Hurricane Andrew, a Category 5 storm, was heading toward the coast. Warnings were given, but preparations were insufficient. Buildings that were thought to withstand hurricanes collapsed. Thousands of families were displaced, and billions of dollars in property were lost. Even with modern technology, human error or neglect can turn a natural event into a disaster. Going further back, over a century ago in 1911, Paris, France, witnessed one of the most famous art thefts in history. The Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre. Security was minimal, and a thief simply walked away with the painting, hiding it for over 2 years. This embarrassed the museum, but also led to modernizing art security worldwide. A small lapse in vigilance can create a ripple effect, even in areas we don't usually consider dangerous. In 1966, Florence, Italy, faced a catastrophic flood when the Arno River overflowed. Libraries, museums, and churches suffered massive losses. Priceless books, artworks, and historical documents were destroyed. With better early warnings and flood control, the disaster could have been reduced, but human underestimation of risk turned it into a cultural catastrophe. Financial mistakes can be just as destructive. In 2008, a financial crisis began in the United States and quickly spread globally. Banks and financial institutions took enormous risks, mismanaged loans, and created complex investment products that no one fully understood. When the housing market collapsed, the effects were felt worldwide. Millions lost their jobs, homes, and savings. Governments had to step in to prevent a total economic collapse. This shows how human decisions in finance can impact billions of lives in our interconnected world. In 1912, the Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage across the North Atlantic. Warnings of icebergs were ignored. The ship, celebrated as unsinkable, struck an iceberg and sank in the early hours of April 15th. More than 1,500 people died. Overconfidence, poor communication, and inadequate lifeboats turned a marvel of engineering into a global tragedy. Between 1959 and 1961, China experienced one of the deadliest famines in history. Political decisions, mismanaged agriculture, and natural factors combined to create disaster. Tens of millions of people died. Policies aimed at rapid modernization failed in the most catastrophic way. What all these events have in common is a chain reaction that starts with a decision, a misjudgment, or an overlooked warning. At Chernobyl, safety rules were ignored. At Challenger, engineering warnings were not followed. Hurricane Andrew showed the cost of underestimating risk. The Mona Lisa theft, Titanic disaster, and Florence flood demonstrate how human error can impact culture, technology, and life itself. Even financial and policy decisions like the 2008 crisis or China's famine had immense global consequences. History teaches us that mistakes, whether small or enormous, are rarely isolated. Their impact spreads far and wide, often affecting people far removed from the initial decision. And while technology, laws, and procedures improve over time, human error continues to shape the course of events. Accountability, caution, and foresight are not just virtues. They can be the difference between catastrophe and survival. Ultimately, every human error, no matter how small it seems at the time, has the power to change the world. If you found this story fascinating, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss any of our history stories.